Oh, we almost had a pick six live on camera. All right, this is new for me. I'm recording while the game is still going on. So let's talk about it. I got my hefty, trusty little notepad that we can talk about the points. And I already know this is going to be kind of insufferable for non-Steelers fans because I'm going to complain, even though we are currently leading 32-13. That might not be the final score because, like I said, I'm recording with 3:21 left in the game. Let's say 3rd and 5. What's the defense do? Oh, they get to the quarterback. It was a screenplay, and they broke up the screenplay. Oh, but he got out of it, and he got back to the line of scrimmage. 4th and 5. They're most likely going to go for it. It's a 19-point game. So, this is the craziest thing about being a Steelers fan. 3:03, 3:02, like clock ticking, up by 19. I'm still somehow scared we're going to lose this game. But, all right, thank God TJ's on the field. All right, here we go. 4th and 5. Let's see. This basically puts us in the kneel-out territory if we don't let them convert, and we do not let them convert. There we go. We get the ball back, so I can comfortably do this because we just won this game. Okay, where do I want to start? I don't know, man. Okay, here's a good one. Every single week when I'm watching a game or any this week that people are talking about Steelers football, especially over the last 5 years, everyone says they need to get back to typical Steelers football. It's running the ball hard and using that as your offense. I am so over the Steelers system because it clearly hasn't worked for jack nor fucking shit for the last 8 years. Maybe 9 if I'm being generous. We can't just keep relying on the running game. Do we have Najee in? Why is Najee in the game? I mean, I have him in fantasy. That was a toss play, which I'm going to talk about. But it wasn't Najee, thank God. But I'm just so over this. Oh, the Steelers' way of football is running the ball. You know what that tells me? It tells me that everyone notices the Steelers refuse to adapt to the modern offense. Which, the modern offense is built off of the run, but it's not run reliant. Look at the best offenses over the last 3 or 4 seasons, especially if you're looking, we're going to say healthy because that's like Miami, but they've had their injury issues. But Miami's, Detroit's, Dallas, not so much this season, but the last couple of seasons, San Francisco, they use a lot of motion. They have a good running game, but they're not overly reliant on their running game because they put trust in their quarterbacks. Brock Purdy was the last pick in the NFL draft, but Shanahan trusts his own system so much, he's like, I'll let him do whatever he needs to do. Pittsburgh doesn't do that. We're like, all right, I think Justin has 145 passing yards in this game. I'm going to talk about Justin. Obviously, he's a quarterback. He'll get his own low spot. But I am so over they need to get back to Steeler football. Steeler football doesn't you know what Steeler football is? Steeler football is not winning a playoff game since 2016. Steeler football is showing up in the fourth quarter and not the first 3. Steeler football is under-preparing for bad teams. I'm surprised we won this game how we did. Up until halftime, it looked like it was going to be way closer than this. I'm kind of over that. I said this last week, but my voice was shot, and that video didn't get as many views as these normally do, so I'm going to repeat this. It's crazy how 3 OCs and 4 quarterbacks later, and still the offense looks the exact same it's just the same. Not only 4 different quarterbacks, we've now had 2 different quarterback styles across 4 quarterbacks. We've had pocket passers, and then now we've had a scrambling quarterback, and the offense how does it look the exact same? That tells me it's not an offensive philosophy for the coordinators, even though Matt Canada and Randy Finkner had their issues. But it shows me this is an offensive mindset for Mike Tomlin, which is scared football, which we are 4-2 right now. We're at the top of our division. We're one of the top teams in the AFC. You could argue a top 10 team, but scared football does not win football games. The Colts game is a great example of this. I'm going to be completely honest. Pittsburgh could easily be 6-0 right now. You hop on a fumble last week. That's not even it. Then you get lucky and you win that game. If you are alive and putting trust in your quarterback last week, I already talked about it, but that's a win possibility. And the Colts game is the same thing. You were driving and then boneheaded mistakes killed your own drive and momentum, and you ended up losing the game. So there's a real chance you put this team at 6-0. And Joe Flacco looks like should be a starting quarterback somewhere, so that makes me sleep a little better at night. All right, other points I really want to talk about. 3rd and long. Oh, my God. I charted down every single time we were in 3rd and 10 plus. This is not every third down. This is every 3rd and 10 plus. We were in 3rd and 10 plus 14 times. Nope, that's wrong. I can do math. We were in that's embarrassing. It was 9 times. We were in 3rd and 10 plus 9 times. We were in, here's where it gets crazy, 3rd and 15 plus. All right, 1, you get a penalty. I understand. 2, okay, you got sacked on 2nd and 10. Try 4 times. 3rd and 15 plus 4 times, one of which was 3rd and 28, by the way. And we just got a first down. Speaking of first downs, how did we end up with like 3 more of those in the Raiders, yet we're up by 19 points? Oh, my God. That's going to lead me into the overall kind of theme I'm going to talk about probably for most of this video, which is, turnovers are nice, but we can't overly rely on them. And not only that, I wrote down so many funny things I wrote down. I wrote down we're overly reliant on opponent mistakes as opposed to team successes, both penalties and turnovers. So, it's you can't take away TJ literally forced 2 fumbles. It's not like a player dropped a ball and we hopped on it. Like, TJ forced 2 fumbles. Did we have a couple interception or an interception? Yeah, we did, but it was kind of an air-sailed ball. I'm not going to not give the defender credit because we see those get dropped all the time. We just saw him drop a potential pick 6. Jets, Giants, Washington, Baltimore. That's one maybe for sure win. We'll talk about the future of this team and of this season. But so there are plays that the defense makes, but we are way overly reliant on them. Think about it. One of the fumbles happened on the goal line. The other fumble happened, I think it was in our territory. Oh, no, it was in their territory, but they were, I think, on the 45. And then just talking about like opponent mistakes in general, it's not just turnovers, but also penalties. We had a 3rd and long that we did not convert because we called a bullshit fucking play, but Justin got roughing the passer, and which was a shit call, I can admit, as a Steelers fan. He got roughing the passer, and we converted on it, which led to points. There was another time, I can't remember what the penalty was, but I think it was another. It was roughing the pass. There were 2 roughing the passer penalties that the Raiders got, and it was on 3rd and long, and it led to a first down automatically for Pittsburgh, which would not have been converted otherwise, and Pittsburgh got points off of it. So there you go. There's 14 points right there. We won this game by 19. We're essentially up by 5 points, and this game is being treated a lot differently by both sides here in the 4th quarter. So Pittsburgh's just getting, I'm going to say it, and I know a lot of people think Steelers fans won't admit this, which I've been to 2 Steelers games this year. Believe me, delusional Steelers fans exist, and they're going to say this, but they're wrong. Steelers have gotten a lot of their wins off of luck right now because those penalties don't come, and we're not converting. And I'm going to talk about 3rd and long now. If we're planning on being in 3rd and long, maybe put something in the game plan for it. Just the thought, considering we've been in 3rd and long, I think they said 5 or more times in each of our games this season. That's crazy, by the way. But the fact that we've been in 3rd and long at least 5 times a game, maybe put something in the playbook for that, considering that's becoming a norm on this team. Instead of just a fucking a running back chip block and release to get 2 yards. Or this one fucking drove me nuts. It was, I think, 3rd and 17 or 18, and Pittsburgh decides, let's run. If you guys ever played Madden, you know that there is literally a verticals play where you have your outside receiver run basically just a 9 just straight down the field. You have another one run kind of like a deep. It's kind of like a choice route. Like if you're gonna go forward, you can run forward. If you want to cut it in a little bit, it's like a slight post, you can. And then the guy in the slot runs a post as well. And then you have this guy on this side of the field run a drag. Madden players run that out of, I hope this works, basically hopium. Pittsburgh ran that, and Darnell Washington basically was on a slant and collided with Calvin Austin, which didn't matter. It wasn't like we were going to pick it up. But I was just like, that's our play call on 3rd and long, not use George Pickens, not use some corner routes, not, scheme up 2 different players running in opposite directions to throw off a cornerback coverage. No, we're going to run verticals with a drag route. This shows me Mike Tomlin has a lot more control over the offense than a lot of people have thought, because I'm old enough to remember when Arthur Smith was doing a lot better things than this, and I don't think Arthur Smith saw his successes both as a head coach, there weren't many, but there were some, and primarily as a coordinator, and was like, I'm going to abandon those. Those only worked because that was 4 years ago. No, they worked because he's a smart guy when it comes to coordinating. Speaking of slant plays, what a transition to my next point. Another thing I wrote down that makes me laugh. Less Hayward, more anyone else. Not Cam. Cam's a god. Love Cam. He's going to retire a Steeler, and I can't wait for that. No, his brother Connor. You're giving us a bad name, dude. And not even you, because you're just doing what they're asking you to do. But, for instance, he had another drop today. He can't really pass block. He can't really run block either, which that's just the Steelers in general. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're going for it on a 2-point conversion, and we're like, yeah, let's rely on a Connor Hayward slant. Not Roman Wilson, who was just active. Not Calvin Austin, who arguably had the fastest 40 time ever. Didn't count, but I will die on the hill that he had it at the time. Not throw up a fade to George Pickens, not throw up a fade to Freiermuth, not throw up something to 647,000 Darnell Washington, not Van Jefferson. No, let's throw a slant to Connor Hayward, the shortest tight end on our team. Again, tight end, it makes sense sometimes. It's a jump ball. He is our shortest tight end. I think Connor Hayward's 6'3". I think Freiermuth is 6'6", and Darnell Washington is 6'7" or 6'8". And we're throwing a slant to the shortest, slowest. There's no offense to or no shots at Connor Hayward, obviously. This is just the facts. But out of all of our receiving options, one of the shortest for tight end wise and one of the slowest route running wise, we're really like, I don't understand what we're doing, but whatever. We won this game. I got to rely on that. Quick start, then we abandoned that. Why did that happen? We abandoned what worked. That's true. The first drive, so we were going really well, and then like once we passed the 50, we're like, this thing was just working. Let's do something else. You know what? Stuff was just working right there. I think we should do other things. Why? What's the point of that? I hate that. Switching up to the defense real quick. Stop the soft fucking zone and please press more. We are keeping teams in this game through the first 2, maybe possibly even 3 quarters because we're playing this stupid soft zone, which is allowing, like, Brock Bowers is going to get his. He was the only receiving option today. But if he's the only receiving option, maybe double team him so we get beat by any the fuck one else. This team didn't have anybody healthy, and they still put up 13 points. I mean, granted, the last touchdown was garbage time-ish, but still, but we're playing soft, and this was something that me and Zach saw at the Cowboys game last week. Like, we're playing so soft that you could run curls on this team forever, or you could run just like they don't even have to, a running back could run a wheel, or even a tight end could run a wheel. They don't even have to cut up field on that portion of the route. They could just be running out to the boundary, and they're going to be open because we have jack fucking shit and no one there. It's so frustrating. And every time we blitz or we press, it's like it works. Or like last week, the play we lost the game on, we were playing man, but we were playing soft man. Why aren't we playing? It is 4th and 1 in that situation, and you're not going to press. That happened in this game too. They were on the goal line, and the play got brought back because of a penalty on Vegas. But the play that happened is everyone that we were playing man against, they were playing like 5 yards off. It is basically, 2 yards to go. And why the fuck are you getting? That's an easy slant play. Listen, you guys are athletic, but I don't think you're going to jump 6 yards to grab the ball. And again, that's not on the corners. That's on the schemes. Robert Saleh, I actually really like Terrell Austin as our TC. I think he gets a lot of shit because Steelers fans expect us to shut out a team every single week. I'm complaining about the defense right now, but we also just allowed 13 points, and we've only allowed at least 20 points once this season. So, he knows what he's doing. But if we can get Saleh, kind of like when we brought in Brian Flores as just an assistant or something, to be like, hey, maybe do this. Actually, not maybe. Do this. That would be really nice. I'm going to leave some of the more bigger names for later, like Najee and Fields and Pickens and stuff like that. Offensive line flags, Jesus fucking Christ. Self-explanatory. Oh my goodness. Turnovers nice. Said that. Oh, yeah. So this says stop the 3 downs. We have 3 downs mindset. Pittsburgh seems to operate the offense as if we have 3 downs to get this first down. Can we play it like we have 2 to get the first down, please? maybe if it's maybe we should just trick the offense, and when we roll them out there, we're like, hey, by the way, it's 2nd and 10. Like, we haven't caught a snap here. You're like, oh yeah, no, it's a new rule. We lost it because of a penalty or something. Because then maybe there's a little more energy to this offense. But no, we're operating this game like we got 3 tries, which you do, but no other modern offense operates like that. Every modern offense operates as in basically like we have two plays to get this. Actually, no. Every modern offense essentially relies on we have 2 plays to get 9 yards. We have 2 plays to get 8 yards. Pittsburgh's like, we got 3 to get 10, and it doesn't fucking work. It's really frustrating. Full body weight is bad. Yeah, the roughing the passer calls were really, really hard to watch, but that's just a rule. That's not on the players or the refs even. I'm not going to blame the refs. I'm going to blame the rule there. So that's bad. Every defense this season, by the way, has played against, like, every first down, every defense comes out against Pittsburgh against the run. Every single time. Like, every single time. We're so predictable. That's why, like, on the first drive, I think we opened with it was either play action or just a pass. And it worked. And almost all of our play actions are pretty damn successful because on first down, because for the last 6, 7, 8 years, everyone's been like, oh, Pittsburgh's going to run it. And they did. They got 1 yard. Okay. Ooh, second down. Matt Canada's offense, Matty Finger's offense. They're going to run the ball again. Oh, they did. 3rd and long. This is awesome. We're just going to play basic defense here, and we don't lose it. It's because that's Pittsburgh. I don't get it. Like, I'm not saying I'm a coach. I'm not even nowhere near qualified. I'm not even going to act like I'm qualified to be a coach. But, like, when I'm saying similar things to the commentators and the analysts and other commentators on a platform like this that are talking about it, or other players or other moderators, and it's a constant, like, very common thing everyone seems to be talking about, and ex-players, ex-coaches, ex-GMs, everything. They're all saying the same thing as me. Maybe take my advice about that, because I'm somehow agreeing with the 98% of other people. I don't get how Pittsburgh can see all these other people and be like, nah, all those players that used to have success in the league, all those coaches that were successful, they don't know what they're talking about. All defenses, yeah. What the actual fuck is red zone play calling? Do I need to emphasize that more? It's actually so bad. The amount of times that we're like getting the ball via turnover inside the 30 or 20, and we can't do jack nor shit. That's today's motto, is jack nor shit. But yeah, the red zone play calling is so bad. Najee can't pass protect. No, he cannot. We're going to talk about Najee in a little bit. Fire the O-line coach out of a cannon. Please, God. Pat Meyer, get him the fuck out. Can we get Mike Munchak, right? That was his name? Our old O-line coach, or just anybody besides the guy that we brought in the season after he led the Panthers to the 29th, 30th, and 28th overall pass protection. That was 29th against the run, 30th against the pass, and 28th overall. Offensive line blocking. We brought him in Pittsburgh is the ultimate, like, I can fix him girl/guy. Like those people in relationships that see someone, they're like, I can fix that person. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFL. And it's annoying. 3rd and long, talked about that. Overly reliant, talked about that. Back-to-back pitches, that was crazy. 1st and 10, we pitched the ball, got a yard. Then we got like 6 yards. And then we saw that and said, you know what? Let's do that again. And we lost 4 yards. It was crazy play calling there. Best defense in the league. I'm going to pump the brakes on that real quick. I don't think Pittsburgh has the best defense in the league. Statistically, yes, we do. But the opponents we have played against, I can admit, we have played a Kirk Cousins who looks good now, but in his first game back against a good O-line, but essentially quarterback play is going to dictate that. We played Bo Nix, who still kind of low-key lit us up for yardage. We played an injured 3/4 of a Justin Herbert, and then a quarter of Taylor. Why is his name? Why am I forgetting his name? But this proves my point exactly. Quarterback for the Commanders during that fun little era. And then he was with the Falcons. You guys know who I'm talking about. But essentially, we played him, and then we followed that up against Joe Flacco and lost, and then followed that up against Dak Prescott and a struggling overall offensive Dallas Cowboys team, which lost today. So Pittsburgh being the best defense in the league, I mean, statistically, yeah, you can say that. Yeah, they have a lot of turnovers. I think we're +8 is what they said in turnover differential on the season. That's great. But if you're looking at who we're playing, I'm going to pump the brakes on that real quick because there have been other teams like Minnesota who shut down the Houston team, So I'm pumping the brakes on that real quick. Now we have the Jets next week, the Giants after that. I'm not going to judge us off the Jets like defensively. If we get lit up, then we get lit up. But if we have a great defensive game, I'm not going to be like, yeah, see you against the Jets. Like the Jets should be good, but they haven't been. So I'm going to base off of what they've actually produced. And then after that, we have Washington and then basically our entire division. So that'll really show if our defense is legit or not. But like I said 40 times already, I'm going to pump the brakes on that. We ran a fake toss play that resulted in a touchdown. I'm not going to lie. I wrote fake toss. I'm going to come. Because that might have been my favorite play call I've seen in the last 10 years of the Steelers football. After me hating, and I know Najee got a touchdown off of a pitch play. I don't want to see the pitch play ever again, though. Just because it works 1 out of 30. If I approached 30 girls and asked out 30 girls and one of them gave me their number, I'm probably not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to keep up this routine. Like, if I approach them all the exact same way every single time, I'm not going to be like, yeah, this worked one time. I'm going to keep using this. Like, no, it's not going to work. So just because that happened doesn't mean we have to stick with it. Please abandon it. But the fact that we ran a fake pitch play that resulted in a touchdown, it just made me feel so validated about my feelings about the pitch play. We still need a wide receiver 1/2. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Beanie Bishop had a fine, I'm actually going to say a below average game because the touchdown that happened in the fourth quarter by the Raiders was against him on man coverage. So Cam Sutton comes back in like week 8 from his suspension, and Pittsburgh clearly needs Cam Sutton. If Cam Sutton is even a shadow of what he was last year, let alone when he was with Pittsburgh a couple years ago, then Pittsburgh's nickel defense is going to be really, really good. That's my man, Deshaun Elliott. He's a god. What a pickup this year. So that's everything, except we're going to talk about Najee, Pickens, the offense in general, and Fields. The 2 touchdowns we had from Fields, so basically 14 points. Those do not happen if Russell Wilson's the quarterback. Russell Wilson is not running those balls in, for a touchdown. And they weren't even designed. Well, the fake toss obviously was, but we're not calling that play if Russell's the quarterback. And the other running touchdown that Justin had, that's not happening because it was an improvised play by Justin. That's not happening if Russell's our quarterback. What happens is Russell either takes a sack, forces a pass that could possibly get intercepted, or he throws the ball out of bounds and we settle for a field goal. So that's showing that Pittsburgh needs Justin really badly for this offense. Other things, we can use things like design quarterback draws. There was a moment a hot mic caught, I don't know if it was a Steelers player or a Raiders player. It must have been a Steelers player because someone went, this is legit what I heard. It was like first and second and long or third and long. So I hear, it's a draw play. It's a draw play? It's the draw play. All right. And then we ran a draw play. So it must have been Pittsburgh players talking because it was not even blocked well or defended well by the Raiders. But so, like, we can do things like that with Justin. I know everyone's going to go, he only has 145 passing yards this game. Woo! He threw the ball, 21 times? Let me see. Because it's also really hard. If you look at most players that throw for like 400 yards, like Baker today. Baker had like 400 yards, right? Well, if you're playing, I actually think I played against him. Yeah. So he had 325 yards on 36 throws. Justin had 24 throws. Justin had as many throws as Baker had completions. And so it's hard to throw for good. So like, let's look at the game that Justin threw for 314 or 312. He threw the ball 34 times. He threw the ball 34 times, the same as Baker did today. The time that Justin threw for 245, he threw the ball 32 times. Like last week was kind of like oof because we threw the ball 27 times for less yards than we had today. But when you're throwing the ball 24 times for 145 yards, like you're not going to be able to open up the passing game. And Pittsburgh still, I don't know what is this stupid obsession that Pittsburgh has of not just letting Justin, like if you want Justin to be the guy and they haven't named him the quarterback one yet, they're probably not going to do this for the rest of the season if I had to guess, unless it was like after the bye week, they're going to say like we're going to proceed with Justin as the quarterback one. But like if you, like Pittsburgh wants this guy to be the future quarterback. Pittsburgh doesn't want to have to look at the draft this year or next year, the year after. They want to be like, yep, we got our guy. Then use him. you guys keep playing not to lose. You don't let Justin like just do his thing. You're treating him like it's year one of a rookie. I know it's year one as a player for this team, but he's not a rookie. He doesn't have to adjust to the speed of the game. He's been dealing with it for the last 3.5, 4 years, and he's still younger than Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. And Deshaun Watson. He's the youngest quarterback in our division. That's a real thing. He's the youngest quarterback in our division. So he has the most room for growth. Also, Lamar Jackson is younger than Joe Burrow, but that's a discussion for another time. I don't get the Steelers fans are like, I've seen okay things from Justin, but what can Russell bring? Russell can bring nothing. He can't bring this. He might bring more passing production, but what Russell does with his arm will not basically be what Justin can do with his legs. That's it. Russell, yeah, if he came in, he might have 20 more yards passing per game, but I will take Justin's 55 to 60 yards extra per game that he's having right now with his legs than the 25 on the passing stats that shows up. Like, I don't care. We have a win. I'm old enough to remember when Steelers fans were like, oh, we're having great yardage, but we're not. Like when Pittsburgh had a shit defense 5 to 6 to 7 years ago, but we had a great offense. People going, oh, well, the offense is so good, but we're losing games, so why are all these stats so fancy? You can't have your cake and eat it too, guys. That's basically what I'm going to say about Justin. He's doing great. They're just not – it's really frustrating watching them not use him. Like, whatever. Najee is great in a committee. When he is the only back, when he's a lone back and a featured back, he is so bad. He is so bad. I'm pretty sure he had more than 100 yards today. Now, it really helps when you have a 30-yard touchdown that you run. I think it was 36 yards. But, let's see. Najee today, 14 carries. 14? Look at the last couple of weeks. He had 14 last week, 13 the week before. That's because we abandoned the run that week. But then 18, 17, 20. So 14 for 106. He was averaging 7.5 yards per carry. So when Najee is not the featured guy, he's really good, except for in the pass blocking game. Wow. For a dude who is 40 pounds more than me and my same height, and I'm not short. The camera might make it seem like that. I'm 6'3". So I'm pretty sure Najee's 6'3", 240. For a dude, imagine me with 40 pounds of basically just muscle on me. Najee can't pass protect. Meanwhile, you have, I think, 5'10 or 5'11 Jalen Warren come in, and he's a much better pass blocker. What's going on? So that's another reason I love Jalen Warren. Now, Jalen Warren did not have a very good game, but it's also his first game back from the injury, and Najee made up for it with his usage on the ground. Now, when Patterson comes back, this offense is going to be a very interesting to watch. So that's going to be just, I don't even know. It's going to be a Arthur Smith special. But, yeah, so Najee, he's good when he's in a committee. I don't see him. Unless we plan on keeping Jalen and Najee for, the next 10 years, I don't see Pittsburgh overly committing to him financially unless it's a very good deal. George Pickens. I know I'm not going to talk about the week stuff because I'm already at 25 minutes here. I'm not going to talk about everything that happened throughout the week and all the drama. I might talk about that later in the week. I don't know. We'll see. But looking at his game today, he had 8 targets off of 24 total throws. That's 30%, I'm pretty sure, right? Fun fact, I was a math major. So, yeah, 33% target share. That's fucking insane. Do you know, if you don't play fantasy or if you don't really pay attention or deep dive fantasy, 33% target share is nuts. That's what you dream about. And he came down with 3 of them. 2 of them were dropped. 3 of them were dropped. One of them was very costly early in the game, and I was like, how are you going to talk all this shit if you can't make that catch? Again, I'm not saying I can make that catch, but for a guy who's made better catches and who talks up himself to a certain point, you have to be able to put your money where your mouth is, and George did not do that today. Now, there weren't many opportunities. They did force him the ball. I think they forced 3 targets to him in the fourth quarter, so essentially he had 5 targets, and they forced 3 of them. One of them was an end zone shot, and he dropped it. Hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. So, George, I want you on the team. I want you to be this future man, but you can't be doing all this diva shit and then not back it up. At least Antonio Brown was a diva and got us 150 yards a game. Now, again, we were targeting him differently, but still, you understand what I mean. When the ball got to him, he made plays. George, you have your moments. It's just not consistent enough. I still love you, though. Absolutely adore you. I think you're top 5 talent in the league. Calvin Austin, 5 targets. That's it. No other receiver got targeted. Roman Wilson, no targets. Scotty Miller, no targets. Van Jefferson, no targets. Pat Freiermuth targeted 3 times. Washington once. Connor Hayward once. I don't even know why. I mean, technically twice. Doesn't count it because it's a 2-point conversion. But yeah, this team, we need to. I put this in the group chat, which I'm hoping I'm right about this. I have a conspiracy theory that Pittsburgh actually already completed the trade for Devontae with the Raiders. But because the Raiders played Pittsburgh this week, the Raiders said, we'll give him to you Monday morning. Now, egg on my face if he gets traded to another team or doesn't get traded at all. But that seems like it could be a real possibility. I think if Pittsburgh wasn't playing the Raiders this week or next week, within the radius of when he would be traded by, I think this deal actually might have been already done because I do trust Omar Khan. I mean, he had Brandon Ayuk in the bag, and then Shanahan was like, hey, by the way, if you don't say yes right now, we're sending you to Pittsburgh. And Ayuk was like, do I want to move my shit? That seems really hard and time consuming. All right, I'll stay. So he got the deal done. So I do wonder if there has already been a deal on the table that has been accepted, but they were like, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, then we'll send him over. And if that's the case, great. Pittsburgh is in a much better spot. I do think it's kind of middle finger to George if we get Devontae. Now, not that him and Devontae are on the same level, but, we get a wide receiver 1. Yes, a wide receiver 1. And then we start throwing the ball more. George might be like, what the fuck? I'm 6 years younger than this dude, and you're forcing him the ball, but you won't do that for me, But Pittsburgh does desperately need a wide receiver 1 or /2. The reason I said that is because maybe George can operate as a 2. But Pittsburgh does miss Deontay offensively. Now what we got back from defensively, Dante Jackson has been absolutely amazing. We got a cornerback too, and I love what Dante's been showing us. And yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about wide receiver because I talked about it last week as well. We did. McCormick went down with not McCormick. McCormick's our left guard, 54. Zach Frazier went down with an injury. Sounded like he was ready to suit up. He taped it up and wanted to go back in, but the Steelers told him no. It's probably because we were up by 20 at that point. Pittsburgh didn't want to risk further injury. So I'm hoping he's okay because he's been a staple of our offense. Just the numbers. I got scared that Minka went down, so that was terrifying. But, yeah, we went from a very, very deep defensive team to one injury, and we're fucked. So even though Moon did have a great game filling in for Herbig / Highsmith, who we might even get back next week. So, yeah, 30 minutes. Usually when we win, you think it would be a shorter video, but there's just it's a hard win to watch because when it's 12-7 at halftime, and now I did write down a lot of stuff about the first drive that the Raiders had offensively, but Pittsburgh did turn it around after that, and I didn't see repeat offenses or mirroring of that first drive by Pittsburgh defensively. So don't want to talk about it that much more. I'm going to go watch the post-game press conferences and get this out. So let's get out tomorrow. And yeah, 4-2, top of the division somehow. Could easily, like I said, be 5-1, 6-0. But we're killing ourselves, and we're playing scared. And I can't keep up for the rest of the season, especially with the teams we're playing for the second half of the season. All right, I've talked for way too long. I'm sure you guys are sick of it. Don't know if you're still here. If you are, thank you guys for watching. We're almost at 10K. That's insane. If we hit 10K before the end of the year, that'd be wild. I think I hit 1K in January, so 10K in a year, that's crazy. It doesn't seem like a lot to you guys. You're like, oh, only 10K, but I don't think you guys realize I've been uploading for 11 years now, and it's kind of a cool feeling. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. You know how we end these.